ESPN host Elle Duncan has once again sparked controversy with her remarks regarding Caitlin Clark supporters and their approach to following the WNBA. The central issue revolves around an expectation that newcomers to the league should demonstrate appreciation for all athletes, particularly veteran players, rather than focusing exclusively on specific stars. Duncan's position suggests that fresh audiences entering the WNBA landscape need to undergo some form of initiation, acknowledging the contributions of established players and those who built the foundation before recent arrivals. However, numerous casual viewers reject this notion entirely, maintaining that consumer choice dictates viewing preferences without obligation. Sports enthusiasts argue their fandom operates on personal interest, comparable to selecting preferences at any establishment, AUTM. They determine their own path. The situation becomes particularly ironic considering historical precedents in professional basketball. When Michael Jordan stepped away from the NBA, viewership numbers plummeted dramatically. Audiences gradually returned during the Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant era with the Los Angeles Lakers, though significant portions of the fan base never resumed watching. Yet somehow, current commentary demands that WNBA followers must demonstrate reverence toward players like A'ja Wilson, regardless of individual interest. This expectation seems unreasonable, suggesting that audiences must fabricate enthusiasm or falsely claim the league's expansion stems from multiple sources contradicts reality. Examination of actual viewership data reveals underwhelming performance across most broadcasts. Claims about ratings growth often rely on misleading comparisons using recently modified measurement systems. ESPN's year-over-year statistics appear inflated due to updated calculation methods that didn't exist previously, making historical comparisons inherently dishonest. Duncan's relationship with defending Clark remains complicated and inconsistent. While the SportsCenter anchor has occasionally supported the Indiana Fever star against criticism from colleagues, she's simultaneously undermined Clark on other occasions. Characterizing Duncan as a consistent defender requires selective memory. When Clark received Time magazine's Athlete of the Year recognition for 2024 December, Duncan supported the decision. Her statement emphasized that Clark's selection appropriately reflected an extraordinary transformational season, and that recognizing individual achievement shouldn't diminish others' contributions. She argued against viewing Clark's prominence as undeserved elevation, comparing it to questioning MVP awards when entire teams contribute to success. However, Duncan also identifies problems arising from Clark's celebrity within women's basketball circles. During a conversation with Stephen A. Smith, she acknowledged Clark's importance to the WNBA while simultaneously insisting that A'ja Wilson remains the superior player. This pattern of mentioning other athletes when praising someone specific illustrates a broader issue within league discourse. The comparison to past basketball legends proves instructive. Nobody discusses Michael Jordan's greatness by immediately pivoting to Magic Johnson's accomplishments. Jordan's excellence stands independently without qualification or comparison, yet WNBA commentary consistently follows a different pattern. Duncan expressed concern that excessive focus on Clark often accompanies dismissive attitudes toward other competitors. She suggests the problem isn't celebrating Clark's impact but rather how that celebration frequently includes devaluing everyone else's contributions. Compliment followed by denigration approach troubles her and other observers who see fans dividing into camps that either worship Clark while despising others or reject her significance entirely. This criticism misses a fundamental point. Many viewers refuse to perpetuate false narratives about widespread league popularity when evidence contradicts such claims. Angel Reese cannot consistently fill Chicago Sky home games. Most broadcasts continue generating poor ratings. Indiana Fever viewership would likely have declined substantially had audiences definitively known Clark wouldn't return, demonstrating where genuine interest lies. That acknowledgement doesn't require submitting to pressure from media figures and league insiders who demand newcomers perform some ritual homage to established players. Traditional sports coverage never demanded such deference. Audiences naturally gravitate towards specific athletes based on personal preference without obligation to celebrate everyone equally. The situation involves more than pure basketball analysis. Political perspectives influence media coverage, and Duncan's ideological leanings shape her commentary approach. Her previous statements about Clark reveal patterns in how she evaluates players, with certain characteristics apparently carrying more significance than pure athletic merit. Why does it a kind of a big thing? Is their annual fall luncheon? What is a luncheon? The only, time I've ever heard of luncheon is in the, steamed ham Simpsons things. A formal lunch. I've only ever I've only ever heard it being used in this from the context of Seymour Skinner making sure that Superintendent Chalmers that he was prepared for an unforgettable luncheon. The league and many of its athletes appear to prioritize specific identity markers and political alignments. Clark's profile doesn't align with preferred narratives within certain WNBA circles. Players like Brittany Griner embody multiple identity categories that generate automatic support from particular media personalities. The suggestion that enthusiasm for Clark requires proportional praise for other athletes like Paige Bueckers ignores personal preference. Individual opinions about different players' appeal remain entirely valid regardless of whether they align with media expectations. The persistence of sports media figures in promoting this agenda raises questions about their priorities. Demanding that audiences modify their viewing habits and express preferences to satisfy ideological requirements seems counterproductive. Casual fans entering the WNBA marketplace won't alter their behavior based on media pressure, nor should they. Authentic engagement stems from genuine interest, while not manufactured enthusiasm designed to satisfy arbitrary standards established by commentators and league advocates who prioritize political messaging over organic fan development. The fundamental disagreement remains unresolved, whether casual sports consumers owe anything beyond viewership to athletes they don't follow. Traditional fandom never operated under such constraints, and imposing them now serves no legitimate purpose beyond satisfying media personalities who conflate progressive politics with sports coverage. Audiences will continue supporting players who capture their interest while ignoring those who don't, regardless of how many times pundits insist otherwise. Yeah, but I feel like I was just in high school, so my best memories of from playing sports when I was in middle school and high school just enjoyish. And, I mean, she's not wrong with any of that. And that's what it is you'd see with Caitlin Clark, and I'd say that's probably one of those things that she kind of feels pressure. Like, I don't think Caitlin Clark in general feels pressure playing basketball. I think she probably feels pressure to be Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's lucrative off-season speaking circuit continues to generate substantial income. The basketball star attends various events, delivers presentations, sharing familiar anecdotes, and receives significant compensation for these appearances. Though she repeats similar narratives at these engagements, the earnings are well-deserved given her impact on the sport. During a recent annual autumn gathering, which some might find unusual, as formal lunch events aren't commonly discussed in everyday conversation, Clark shared insights that resonated with attendees. The gathering featured discussions about influences and mentorship, topics that have sparked considerable conversation among fans and observers. Well, I think she probably feels pressure to be Caitlin Clark. If I was to guess, Caitlin Clark feels pressure, being Caitlin Clark. More so than she feels pressure, being Caitlin Clark, the basketball player. Like being Caitlin Clark, the global icon, and not in a way of like the celebrity of it, but in a way of like, she has to be almost that role model. Like, she was to be what Maya Moore was to her, too. Perhaps the most significant message from Clark's appearance centered on her understanding of mentorship responsibilities. She recognizes the weight of inspiring future athletes. At Wednesday's event, she named former Minnesota athlete Maya Moore and tennis champion Serena Williams as personal inspirations. Additionally, she offered guidance to younger athletes present at the gathering. Her message emphasized savoring the experience, noting how quickly time passes. Despite being only 23 years old, she reflected on how recently her high school days seemed, highlighting that her fondest recollections stem from participating. It's not a life I would want to live. I do not envy the position Caitlin Clark is in, at all. And I would envy it a little bit more if she was actually getting paid what she was worth. If she's getting paid what she's worth for these talks, if she was getting paid the 30-40 million she's worth to play basketball. It's very different getting paid 10 million a year and getting paid 30 or get paid 40 million a year. Very big difference. And then also that freaking shoe deal should be getting paid a minimum 10 million a year from Nike. The challenge involves embodying the type of mentor that Maya Moore represented for her, now serving that same purpose for others. This becomes increasingly difficult in the current era where public figures face criticism regardless of their actions. Some individuals express negativity simply for its own sake, This reality presents a significant burden. The lifestyle associated with such prominence wouldn't appeal to everyone. While there might be some appeal to the position if adequate financial compensation matched the value provided, current payment structures don't reflect true worth. The speaking engagements offer appropriate remuneration, but basketball salary falls short of the estimated $30 to $40 million that performance warrants. Earning $10 million annually differs drastically from receiving $30 or $40 million. Furthermore, endorsement agreements, particularly with major athletic brands, should provide at least $10 million yearly. Nevertheless, circumstances are what they are. And it's not one of those things like she wants to help the sport of basketball all around. She wants to be a role model for, the fact is that when she goes out into that stadium, it's people of all ages, genders, races. And then when she probably looks into the audience, it's probably one of those, maybe two of those three things. But yeah, it's always a. Clark's authenticity shines through in her efforts to serve as an exemplary figure for diverse audiences. She genuinely aims to benefit basketball as a whole, striving to inspire people regardless of background. When performing in arenas, spectators span all demographics, average eyes, various ages, identities, and backgrounds fill the stands. Looking out at crowds, she likely sees representation across multiple dimensions.